We look up at this sky just packed with billions and billions of stars. And what do we hear? Absolute silence. But here's a thought. What if that quiet isn't an absence? What if it's a policy?
And that simple idea, that right there might just be the key to one of the most chilling but also fascinating explanations for the cosmic silence. It suggests we've been looking at this whole problem completely backwards, right? We're out here searching for a conversation, but maybe, just maybe, we should have been looking for the one-way mirror all along.
So that brings us to this idea called the cosmic zoo rule. The whole premise is that the silence we're picking up isn't emptiness at all. It's a deliberate, maybe even galaxy-wide policy of non-interference. See, we're not alone. We're just in a preserve.
Okay, and let's be super clear about this. This whole hypothesis isn't about them not being able to find us. Oh no. In this scenario, they absolutely know we're here. They've got the tech. They can see us plain as day. They've just made a choice, a conscious decision to stay hidden, basically treating our entire planet like an exhibit in a cosmic zoo.
I mean, think about it. This totally flips the Fermi paradox on its head. Suddenly, the great silence isn't some big mystery of physics or biology. Nope. It's a question of sociology, of ethics even. The absence of evidence isn't proof that nobody's out there. It's proof that a cosmic prime directive is actually working. All right, so let's get into the mechanics here. How on earth could a galactic quarantine like this even be enforced? I mean, how do you get countless different civilizations, all independent, to agree to the exact same rules for, what, billions of years? It sounds impossible, right? Well, maybe not. It might only take one. Picture this. The very first civilization to crack interstellar travel, let's call them the firstborn, they could have set the rules for everyone else. They established this culture of non-interference and basically impose it on every other species that comes after them. It's like a galactic club, and there's one really, really strict rule for entry. You leave the developing planets alone. And how would they keep an eye on us? Not with giant fleets of spaceships, that's for sure. With something way more patient, something you could almost call immortal. We're talking about robotic sentinels. The radio astronomer Ronald Bracewell came up with this idea of these autonomous probes just sitting silently right here in our own solar system for literally eons. They'd use cryogenic temps to preserve their circuits, they'd be able to repair themselves, and they just waiting for us to hit some kind of technological tripwire.
Okay, so this brings up the really big question, right? If they are out there watching us from the shadows, why? I mean, is this for our benefit, or is it for some other much more unsettling reason?
So the possible reasons for our isolation, man, they run the gamut from totally benign to downright terrifying. You've got the sanctuary model, where they're just protecting our natural evolution. Like we might protect an uncontacted tribe in the Amazon. But then you have the quarantine model. And in that one, the bars on the cage aren't there to protect us from them. They're there to protect the rest of the galaxy from us. And this is where things get really dark. There's this other variant, the laboratory hypothesis. And it suggests that maybe, just maybe, our history isn't entirely our own. What if key moments, major discoveries, even our global crises, are just data points, little nudges from the experimenters to see how we'll react? Our entire civilization, just a giant petri dish. Which leads us to probably the most uncomfortable possibility of all. The zoo, it isn't for our protection. It's for theirs. We're not the delicate, innocent deer in the nature preserve. We're the lions. I mean, just look at us, right? We have this incredible power. We can split the atom. We can edit our own genes. We've left our own planet. But at the same time, we have this proven track record of self-destruction and, tribal violence. It's like one thinker put it. We've become gods, but for the wisdom. All the power, none of the maturity. And really, it all boils down to the risk we pose. Put yourself in their shoes for a second. Imagine you're part of that ancient, firstborn civilization, and you guys solved all your internal conflicts thousands of years ago. Would you really want to introduce a clever, powerful, but, let's face it, unpredictably violent new species into your peaceful galactic community? Yeah, probably not. You'd watch from a very, very safe distance. Okay, now this leads to some pretty wild speculation. If they are enforcing a quarantine, maybe they'd even engage in some Let's call it clandestine sabotage to slow us down a bit. I mean, think about it. Why did our crude deep space exploration just kind of stall out after the moon landings? Was that all just politics and budget cuts? Or could something else be making sure the dangerous animals don't wander too far from their cage? So, okay, let's say we are in a cosmic zoo. Is there a way out? I mean, how could we even test this idea and, get the zookeeper's attention?
Well, some researchers have proposed a pretty direct approach. It's called METI, or Messaging Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And the idea is basically to bark through the bars. We'd craft a message that says something like, "Hey, we know you're out there. We see the cage. And frankly, we're kind of in trouble down here with all our, nuclear weapons and climate change. We're ready to talk." It's a direct appeal, showing them that we're self-aware.
And this all leads to a final, pretty stark choice that a lot of researchers say we're facing right now. And it's because our own technology is just advancing so incredibly fast that it's kind of forcing the issue. See, our ability to scan the atmospheres of planets orbiting other stars, it's getting really, really good. We are getting so close to being able to answer that huge question, is life common in our galaxy or not? And the answer to that is pushing us toward an unavoidable conclusion. And here's the kicker. This is a pretty provocative conclusion from researchers Ian Crawford and Dirk Schuzemakouch. What they're arguing is this. If our future telescopes show that, yeah, life is common out there, but we still don't see any evidence of technology, well, then the zoo hypothesis becomes pretty much the only explanation left for the Great Silence. So, we are coming up on this profound fork in the road for all of human understanding. Sometime in the next 50 years, we might actually be able to figure this out. And there are only two really astonishing alternatives left on the table. Either we are a complete and utter cosmic fluke, or we are a deliberately curated exhibit. I mean, either one of those possibilities is just staggering to think about. But until we know for sure, the zoo hypothesis leaves us with this one thought, and it completely changes how you look up at the night sky. It suggests that maybe our entire history isn't just a record of our own triumphs and failures, but maybe it's been a performance for an audience we can't even see. So, you know what they say?